we now have a framework. We now have an understanding of exactly what Republicans are looking to do. Congress is no longer fighting about a full-blown stimulus package. No. They've basically done now a watered-down, smaller, skinny bill. Of course, I brought you the news yesterday about some of the framework of this. Now we have even more details about how this is coming together. This new bill was prompted into action by the Post Office, emergency protective legislation for the Post Office. And there is now bipartisan support to help the mail system. So lawmakers decided, well, maybe we could start there. Okay, we've got this extra money for the Postal Service. Maybe we start there, and that's how we can get some sort of a stimulus through. So what we understand is that the new bill comes to about $500 billion from Republicans. It's half of the $1 trillion that they had put forward before they had originally proposed in the HEALS Act. They still have to get Democrats to agree on this new $500 billion, but it's their pitch. It's their first pitch in saying, hey, let's try this for now, and then maybe we can do more in a few weeks. We'll take care of the post office. We'll reduce unemployment benefits from $600 down to $300, and we'll also leave out student loan deferment. We'll also leave out all kinds of other things. We'll leave out we'll leave out stimulus checks. We'll leave out money for state and local governments. We'll leave out tons of stuff. We'll just keep it as skinny as possible. We'll just do post office, okay? And we'll just do PPP loans for businesses. And we'll just do some basic education money as well. And we'll just do some COVID testing for schools. That's it. That's all we're talking about today, folks. Thank you, Republicans. This is your new stimulus. $500 billion. No stimulus checks. Unemployment benefits slashed from $600 to $300. Testing for schools. $100 billion for schools. What a mess. I mean, this is an absolute mess, and it's infuriating. But this is what we got. This is where we are. The two parties are going to have to fight over this now. Because Democrats certainly don't want a smaller, skinnier bill. Now, one way that they could get this through, according to the reporting that I've been reading, is they could agree to sign off on this legislation if there's an agreement that they also pass another additional stimulus in the next few weeks. So this is sort of tied. This would be tied to doing more. Now, I don't know how they can actually tie that in. I don't know how they can. Will they have a provision in here that says, hey, in 3 weeks, we have to come back to the table and try again? That's weak, right? Because they can try again all they want. And we know how trying is for these guys. It doesn't really do much. And remember, the Senate is still in recess until September 7th. So we probably won't even see this little skinny bill passed by then. Mitch McConnell will have to call back all of his senators to the chamber and vote on this skinnier bill if Democrats want to go along with it. Now, the incentive for Democrats, of course, going along with it is that there is post office money in here, and that could help shore up ballots for the election. So, again, the $500 billion includes about $25 billion for post office and $10 billion for the post office right now, an additional $25 billion to be further spent. So like $35 billion for the post office to help keep it afloat and to roll back the restrictions that Louis DeJoy put in place as the Postmaster General just a few weeks ago, or in the early summer, where now we're leading to this backlog of mail. So this is, again, just a watered-down version of a HEALS Act. Now, somebody earlier asked me, Clayton, can you explain, why is there no stimulus checks in this? Yes, there's no stimulus checks in this because they wanted to remove their bargaining chips from this bill. By removing stimulus checks, by removing state and local government money, by removing payroll taxes and these other things, they then are left with just a skeleton of things that they know they need to pass right now and get it done. And then they can argue back and forth on stimulus checks and where that money is going to come from and all of those pieces in the next bill, if there is one. But this is sad. I mean, this is really sad. This is where we're at. This is the kind of bill we're talking about right now. I mean, it's really disgusting. And the U.S. economy is still staggering. We're going to talk about what the Fed said last night and how the U.S. economy is teetering on the brink without more federal aid. We've seen the numbers over the past few months, according to the Fed, showing that how well the markets responded, how well the American people responded with that extra stimulus money. We saw record profits in some companies because people were spending money that they were getting from stimulus checks. So remember, Congress is mostly out until August, and any major movement on this is not going to come till September. Consumer spending right now is down about 8%, according to the numbers this morning. And that's from January, down 8% from January. The number of open small businesses has fallen by 20%. The unemployment rate is at 10.2% right now. That remains higher than at any point during the Great Recession of 2009, 2008. School reopenings have caused another wrinkle. And according to new research from the Census Bureau this morning, and the Federal Reserve, 1 in 5 working age adults is unemployed because of the pandemic, had upended their child care arrangements. They're unemployed because they lost their child care. They had to stay home to take care of their children, teach them school, do virtual schooling. And so this confusion still is out there over Trump's executive actions and coronavirus relief, including a payroll tax cut that all these businesses say is basically unworkable. We're not going to do it. We're not going to put this in place, which brings us to unemployment, which is the third thing on my list I think you need to know about today, which is workers in a handful of states may soon see that $300 unemployment benefit. They approved it, though, for only 11 states right now. So Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, Iowa, Louisiana, Maryland, Missouri, Montana, New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Utah will get $300 supplements to your jobless benefits, according to FEMA. Again, this money is coming from FEMA aid that's used for hurricane relief and other natural disasters. They're overseeing the assistance part of it. The aid is part, of course, of President Trump's executive orders from a few weeks ago. It ended at the end of July. This would be basically retroactive from August 1st, which really means that if you start receiving it now, you're only going to get about 3 weeks worth of it. And that's it. Then the FEMA money runs out. And then it's gone. Then we're back to where we were before. So if this skinny stimulus can pass, at the very least, and the only reason I'm being optimistic about it is because the post office piece of this, get the post office shored up to make sure that our election doesn't collapse on us, and also get additional unemployment benefits. You know, this is, again, the Republican bargaining chip, which is, hey, we'll give you money for the post office, but we're only going to give you 50% of what you want from unemployment benefits. Instead of $600 a week, Nancy Pelosi, you're only going to get $300. And again, why is that even tied to a post office bill? Because that's how Congress likes to do it. They love to shove everything into one bill. Both parties are to blame for that. They always do it. Democrats do it, Republicans do it. So here in this post office bill, you have unemployment benefits and COVID testing for schools. And hopefully we'll see a larger stimulus in a few weeks. That is the latest on the stimulus side. Get our free morning newsletter just by going to morninginvest.com. It's very simple to do. Go to morninginvest.com and you'll get that inbox, or you'll get it delivered to your inbox first thing in the morning. We put a lot of work into this newsletter. It's totally free. And you can read the news first thing in the morning on the stories that we think are important to you. That's really why we do it. We also would love if you subscribe to our channel right here and smash that like button on today's video. We put a lot of work into today's video and today's show to bring you the latest news on the Fed, the economy, the stimulus, the DNC, and more. So thank you so much for all of your support.